Go on, you said you wanted to do a musical intro.
Are you started?
Yeah, it's on. You said you wanted to do a musical intro.
Hello! There you go, that's what I was going to do. That's not what I was going to do.
That is not what you
But
was going to
Christian
do.
has just ruined it.
I've
so-
not ruined it at all. I said, oh, you want to do a musical intro? Okay, go right ahead. And then I pressed record and she chickened out. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm eating a piece of chocolate, if you must know.
Ladies and gentlemen, she chickened out. Well, she didn't chicken out this marathon, ladies and gents. You were watching this in, like, September. It is early August as we record this. We have been doing this marathon, bar the break because of Panto, for a year now. With
Happy
Panto, we probably would be... without Panto, sorry, we probably would be, like, what? 10 months into it. No, without Panto, sorry, we'd be like up to season 12 maybe by now. But this is season 9 of our Doctor Who review. I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
That's never going to get old. This is a fan because we're in the middle of that gosh darn heat wave.
Because we need some fans. It's not a heat wave right now, it's like 14 degrees.
Yeah,
it's bloody freezing.
That's why I'm wearing shorts.
I never get cold.
Demonetised.
And flipping egg. And I'm freezing.
But yeah, little update since the last one for us. Anything you can think of significant that has happened betwixt the two videos?
What, in real life?
Yeah?
I don't know.
I'm just joking to see if you actually, like, panic slightly. Trying to think of
I am
something.
slightly, I mean...
There wasn't anything.
What happened? Did I miss something? Have I been asleep the whole time?
We watched Doctor Who, that's what happened.
Sure did.
We sure did.
We also watched the Book of Mormon, which is what I was referencing at the beginning. But,
well,
hey,
you were going to go, hello,
my name is Sister Johnson.
Sister Johnson.
Yeah.
Is that what the Lady Mormons are called?
Yeah,
Sister.
sisters.
The dudes are called elders. The lady ones are called sisters.
Yeah.
Anyway, Doctor Who. Speaking of elderly men and
What?
sister companions,
Yeah, good segue, babe.
it's our third season of John Pertwee's run, 3 of 5. Little recap for the last 2 seasons. Lou was impressed by his first series, if I remember correctly,
No.
and less impressed by his second.
I think it wasn't
But then when we talked about... Oh, that was right, yeah, you liked Spearhead from Space, but you weren't too blown away by the rest. Although you liked Inferno. Remember correctly, the one with the alternate dimension, eye patch Brigadier and all that stuff.
Oh, eye patch. Just Brigadier in general. If he's got an eye patch, that's just added awesomeness.
And then last series, you were disappointed by Terror of the Autons, but you really enjoyed the Master and some of the more creative stories. We started this series with a return of an enemy which, pre this marathon, Lucy Brennan, as she was back then,
Aye.
would have been really annoyed to see because she was getting sick of him being used so much.
Mm-hmm.
How did Mrs. Lucy Johnson feel when I put in the DVD for Day of the Daleks?
I thought, an old friend.
Really? Were you kind of looking forward to seeing him again at this point?
No.
Oh.
I can't say I was.
Oh. Why an old friend then?
I meant that in a sarcastic way.
Oh dear. Well, Day of the Daleks, can you remember what happened in Day of the Daleks?
Nope.
Really? Oh.
You have to show me the front. I can't remember. A lot's happened since then. Oh! Wait. No, wait.
We'll get into that later, because I know full well what you're going to try and say, you weirdo.
I have no idea what the story is, I'm sorry.
So this is the one
Can
where
I just point out?
a political leader...
Wait, can I just point out? I do this in every video. I forget what the story's been. I just want to point out, I have a shocking memory.
Shall I read the summary to you?
I am poo with names, and I forget things so easily. So it's not like I'm disinterested, I'm just really rubbish at remembering things.
Shall I read the summary to you and see
Please.
if you can have your memory jogged?
Please do.
On Earth in the 22nd century, Daleks have enslaved the planet and humans live in fear of their masters, although we don't learn that until the second episode.
Oh!
Meanwhile, back in the 20th century, a peace conference is urgently needed to prevent World War III. Oh, so you know what's going on, can you remember?
Wait, I'm confusing this one.
When reports reach unit of a ghost or orderly house, the site for the conference, the Doctor and Joe decide to investigate. Danger is waiting for them there, including a trip 200 years into the future without the TARDIS.
See, I remember that story, but I completely forget that it's got the Daleks in it.
It's called Day of the Daleks!
No, but it doesn't really have that many Daleks in it.
Well, it has 3 Dalek props. There's 2 grey ones and your gold boy here.
Yeah.
but there's more of them. But you never see them all in the shot. You see them coming out of the tunnel in the last part, and then another cut of them coming out of the tunnel. But that means they also double up the gold one, which is confusing because isn't that meant to be the supreme, leader? Yeah. So there's like two of him running around. I was like, what is this? The Doctor flat out shoots an Ogron in this.
A what?
An Ogron. The Ogrons are great. For those who haven't watched the classic series, they appear in, minor spoiler alert, a few Dalek stories of this run.
Are they busy mate?
No, but the Daleks utilise them. And the Ogrons are great. They're sort of like the Klingon redesign before the Klingon redesign.
Yeah, they do look like Klingons.
Big, brutish warrior things, but they're more like thugs than Klingons are obviously more like, noble warriors with anger issues.
Kapla!
But these guys are called Ogrons.
Yes.
For some reason, Lucy calls them
Ooglies.
Why?
It sounds
Why'd you call them Ooglies?
Because it sounds like
They're not fruit with googly eyes.
Wouldn't that be so cool? Wouldn't that make it so much better?
What? If one of the characters in the show was a fruit with a big googly eye?
If its head was
I think you've forgotten what the next story is.
If they had fruit faces with googly eyes, wouldn't that just be 10 times?
No, they look cool.
And if it had more Brigadier in it, then it would be great.
No. To his defence, this is the story the Brigadier is in the most this series.
Which is shocking, I think.
Yeah. Brigadier...
That's my review of this series. Not enough Brigadier.
He's in this story...
2 out of 3.
He's in this story... If I remember correctly, but I might be misremembering, he's in the very beginning of the Curse of Peladon, I think. Or is that last series, Colony in Space? I don't know. One of them where they're sent somewhere.
Don't ask me.
One of them they're sent somewhere, he's there, he's like, what are you doing? And then he's like, oh, what were you doing there, Doctor? And they're like, oh, we got back like a second after we left. The Brigadier is only prominently in Day of the Daleks and the last story of this season, The Time Monster. Which is upsetting, because as you probably know from the previous videos, she's Stan, a Brigadier boy.
That makes it sound like I fancy him. I don't. I think he's...
It doesn't. I mean, you do, a little bit.
Isn't that what that means?
No, Stan is super fan. And it's gross because it's a reference to the Eminem song Stan.
Ray
a lot of people don't realise that. Ray kills his
girlfriend.
pregnant girlfriend because Eminem doesn't reply to his calls.
Why is that a thing?
Because
also,
the internet is disgusting.
I was going to say I feel...
Hi, internet!
I was going to say I feel bad that you have to explain these things to me, but also I don't feel bad at all.
That's fine.
I'm out of that ether and I'm quite comfortable.
So the ghost at Audley House turns out to be a freedom fighter from the future travelling back to try and kill the politician.
Yeah.
Which is a great setup premise. Like, kills somebody and then disappears. It's like, oh my god, there's a ghost! The ghost tried to kill me! And it's like, well, this is bullshit! So you and your science lot, come and investigate. And the Doctor and Joe just, like, crash in the office overnight and eat the fine cheeses and drink the wine and give zero shit. And Joe tries to give some to Benton and Yates dismisses him. And then Yates takes it. And I'm like, Mike, you twat! You little twat, Mike Yates.
Benson, get back here.
Benton.
What did I say?
Benson.
Oh, sorry.
Benson and Edges.
Benson! Get Benton.
You obviously want us... Now, Benson, go and get Benson to tell Benton to come back here. Yeah. I think the setup for this is great.
Yeah.
I get really bored once the Dalek story begins in this one.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's because of the Daleks. I think it's because of the lack of the Daleks, almost.
Yeah, it is.
And the fact we spend most of it with the political leader, like government guy in the future, who's having to do their bidding and try and stomp out the rebels.
Yeah.
He's really good, and I like the fact that there's that bit where they're all sat in that weird little... It's almost like it's a hollowed-out swimming pool in the middle of the room where the benches and the cushions are just sort of a little incline on the floor.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to him, and he's basically trying to say to him without flat out saying, like, look, this is the best deal I can offer. Go with it, and you'll live. You know what I mean? He's like, just don't interfere with this, that, and the other. And the Doctor's basically just like, you, sir, are a chuffing coward.
Is this one where Joe's kind of sat there like, hey. For a
little bit, yeah. There was the fact they get separated for a while, which is kind of scary, because the first time Jo has really been on her own in such a way, like dragged out of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's scary. Like, she's in a completely different century from the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And the Ogrons, whenever they rock up, it's kind of cool.
Oogles!
These big lumbering dudes.
That didn't get annoying. me saying "ooglers" every time they came on screen.
Really did. But I also love the fact that the whole story was a paradox. That was something I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was.
Like, the rebels didn't realise one of them was the cause of the explosion that sets this all off.
I didn't see that coming. That was good.
Because what was it? The guy had to die, but then they trace it back that, like, his death is actually what spirals things the wrong way, and it always happened. They're like, right, well, we won't kill him. It's like, well, one of us isn't here. Oh god, he's in the past with a shitload of gelatin.
They blamed him for blowing up the
that was it, yeah.
The meeting piece.
Yeah, and then it went wrong. He always died, but they thought it was him and he'd gone wrong.
They thought it was
so they
him
went to
that
kill
had
him
blown
to
it
stop
up.
him from doing it.
But it was actually them that caused the explosion.
Yeah, it's interesting because Doctor Who doesn't really do paradoxes often like that. Like they never do snakes eating their own tail kind of time travel too often. There's usually a lot of... The modern series establishes that there are key points, fixed points that can't be tampered with, and there are other bits that can flow.
Mm.
And it's obviously just a trope in the modern era to make it a little easier to do those different types of stories.
Mm-hmm.
To explain away why they interfere with things all the time, but sometimes it's like, oh no, we can't interfere with it. Like, yes, because sometimes it just cannot be interfered with.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it can be, turns out, because they do interfere with it. They stop it from happening. Well, the explosion still happens, doesn't it? But it's after they've got everyone out of the building.
Yeah.
So, and the explosion blows up the Daleks and the Ogrons.
I kind of thought, though, you should have left that leader guy in there, because he was a dick.
But...
I forgot, can I swear on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Who's a dick? It's very late, I've had a very long week, and I'm very tired, so...
But, did you enjoy this Dalek story more than you have the last few times?
Yeah, because it wasn't... Hey, look, it's the Daleks! Oh, let's have another story. Hey, Daleks! That was very...
oh shit, we're in a jungle of some kind.
Ooh, look, it's a Dalek! How cool and different.
Does it surprise you to know this story is not written by Terry Nation?
It is not surprising.
So there you go.
Because it was...
It was written by Louis Marks. So, there you are. Thanks, Louis.
It was
the
small.
old chum.
Yeah, they were different.
Their voices were annoying, though.
Yeah, they were. They
weren't quite right. Based on, like, the 6+ years of them we've had before. Mm. It felt weird. But, you know, come see, come sa. The voice will change a lot over time. Speaking of weird voices, ladies and gentlemen, Lucy had no clue about this story in any way before we watched it. I could not wait to get her reaction, and it was glorious. The Curse of Paladin. Can you remember what the plot of this one was?
Yeah. So, the Doctor's sent somewhere.
Yeah, the Time Lords.
And they end up on a cliff, don't they? So they have to climb up. Just want to point out as well, Joe's fashion is bang on. Wait, that's the wrong hand movement. There you go.
Bang on!
Don't bring that up. Now I can't stop thinking about horrible histories. God damn it. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, her fashion is just fabulous. But she's going out she's going out, isn't she, with Benson?
I think she ate. Going out with Mike, I think.
Oh, one of them. And she gets dragged in with this doctor fellow. And they end up in like a castle where they're having...
On the planet Peladon.
Peladon, yeah. Where they're having a meeting, almost like an EU meeting.
Well, yeah, well that's the thing. It was written and around the time of the European Union being formed and Britain's inclusion into it. So it was a story. It was.
I forgot what they were meeting about though.
It was Peladon wasn't part of the Galactic Council yet,
right?
And the Prince had recently taken over because his it was either his father or his senior advisor who he'd grown up with is killed.
I'm pretty sure it's his father.
Seemingly by the monster of Peladon, which is going to confuse the hell out of me because this is the Curse of Peladon. The next Peladon story is called the Monster of Peladon.
But this story
is the one about the monster.
Monster of Peladon. Yeah. But I think it was his father that was killed because his advisor was giving him advice.
But the advisor wants to take it. The advisor does not want them to join the Galactic Council because he's like, we are basically they are very religious and very set in their ways, and he's like, we don't want them interfering. They're going to dictate and tell us what to do. Sound familiar with people's fears and prejudices over something that ultimately is a union for the better?
It's clever. Clever.
This was, and I know it sounds weird, this is way more relevant now than it would have been if we'd done this marathon like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Half an episode in and we were like, oh my god.
It's about the EU.
Jesus.
And basically the prince is like, yeah, no, we want to go ahead with it, but I'm not sure, like, because you are also, I grew up with you and you're my trusted advisor and you're brilliant and I don't know what to do. And it seems that the Doctor and Joe are there to make sure it goes ahead because something is afoot. The advisor, spoiler alert, is behind the deaths of the guy's father and of the delegates who interfere and things like that. Utilising the legend of the beast, which, if I remember correctly, is the beast called Agador.
Yeah, Agador is Spartacus.
Agador is Spartacus. They make me fall down. Yes, Agador.
Well, he killed... Well, I think his father died, and then the religious guy killed his advisor because his advisor was saying, no, we need to have this...
Oh, that was it. The dad died before the events of the story, didn't it?
Yeah, you're right. He was a new prince.
Prince Ali. So Agador is arising and apparently is angry at all this. Agador's like the ancient god of Peladon.
Yeah.
And is killing people to prove his point. But it's like statues dropping on people and bodies that aren't found and all this, that and t'other. Yeah. So the Doctor and Joe, through Joe's interference with the prince, because the prince kind of becomes smitten with her, because they're mistaken, that was genius, they're mistaken to be the delegates from Earth who are due to arrive. So she's the princess of Earth.
Yeah, they're wondering why.
And the Doctor's her advisor and sort of...
I love that she just waltzes into that role, though. It's like, Joe, you are excellent.
Like, this is what, Colony in Space, Day of the Daleks, I'm sure there's another from last series that I'm having a moment where I'm slipping. This is like her third or fourth time on a different alien environment. And she's going, no, I'm used to this. I've got this.
She just takes it in her stride, literally.
She's so good.
In fabulous boots. I just really love Joe.
Joe's a bit... Didn't I say this? Like, back when we finished Series 6, you were like, I'm not going to get over this now. I'm not going to get over Jamie and Victoria not being here anymore. I'm not going to get over it.
Yeah.
And it was like, give it time.
I love... It is weird. It is weird having new companions. But when they're this good... I mean, what was the last woman? What was her name?
Oh, Liz.
Liz. She was good.
The first Doctor companion.
But Jo is just right. She's just got such a cheeky smile. Like, they can be in peril.
Sorry, Zoe. Zoe was with Jamie at the end. Sorry, I got confused. I was like, it's not Victoria. What's wrong with me? Sorry.
I
was going to beat myself up if I got that one wrong. It's like, why would they return Victoria to the wheel in space? Oh, yes, because it was Zoe, you idiot.
They could be in peril, and the Doctor's trying to calm her down a bit, and he'll say something silly, and she'll just have a little... Or like, she knows what to do to help the Doctor, and she'll have a little sly smile, and it's like, you're so cute.
I think it's in either the Mutants or the Time Monsters, that bit where they're in that cell and she's like, no, I'm actually
that's
freaking
what
out.
I'm thinking of, yeah.
And he just tells her a story.
That is
and she gets the point. I think it's in the last one.
Last
the Time
one,
Monsters,
yeah.
Yeah, because that last episode, we'll get to it, but like that last episode is amazing.
Yeah.
So they find out that Agador is obviously not exacting vengeance on people. It's all set up by the advisor, but at the same time, there is a beast within the caverns that the prince and a lot of the royal family and royal guard don't know about, which is what Agador is based on, and someone is utilising it. What? Yeah, if you want. Someone is it's fine. Someone is utilising it to kill people when they set it up.
Jesus.
And the Doctor basically brings the beast out, proves it, and the day is saved.
And it's not a giant lizard.
Well, that's the thing as well, because it's a whodunit. So many people are put in the blame over the course of the story. And even though we kind of had the idea from the top that it's the advisor, there's still that thing of, it's playing with who is actually going to get the blame. Like the Doctor is framed at one point, and there's no evidence to suggest it was not him.
Yeah, because he helped somebody because the robotics went wrong.
Yeah, and so there's that side of it. We keep quoting part of the lullaby he sings to sort of hypnotise the creature, to sort of put it in a trance and calm it down. Because I can't remember what the tune is, but the tune's basically like
Oh yeah.
Oh, has it got Rest You Merry Gentlemen? But the last line he keeps singing is Karoon, Karoon, Karoon. And it's oh my god, is it Rest You Merry Gentlemen? I think it might
I
be.
don't know. I can't remember.
But
I just we need to have a little bit of backstory here. We are, if you can't already tell, quite loud and strange people. So from upstairs to downstairs, we will just shout random things. We were doing it about half an hour ago. We'll just just shout random things to each other. If there's too much quiet in the house, one of us will just shout something.
Usually the word meat.
And the other one will respond appropriately. And so, when the house has been quiet, I'll just hear Christopher go, Garoon, Garoon, Garoon. And I thank the episode for that.
Thank you, Curse of Paladin. It's just so funny. Like, it's just so bizarre. He gets to sing quite a few made-up nursery rhymes over the course of the show, doesn't he? And a few, like, Earthbound ones as well. Like, when he's showering in Spearhead, he's just singing a version of the Jabberwock poem to himself. It's like, what are you doing?
Weird.
But I like that. I like that that's one of this Doctor's traits, is a weird knowledge of nursery rhymes. Like, he sings nursery rhymes to himself.
Garoon, Garoon.
That was great. Some really cool designs in this story. The Ice Warriors are back. This time, their third appearance in the show, and this time as delegates. And of course, the show plays on your knowledge of them at first to be suspicious of them. But then it becomes evident over the course of the story that, no, these guys aren't bad guys at all. Like, this is a period in their history where they are working with the rest of the galaxy for peace and for betterment. If the Ice Warriors...
I wonder how that goes.
If the Ice Warriors can understand the benefits of being united, maybe anyone can! Anyway, I think that was the whole point of using them, really, wasn't it? Sort of be like, look, if these guys get it. Because it's clearly a pro-EU story.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's done well, but I think I can't remember the name of it, but the dude in the cabinet who's like a little squishy skull head thing, that's a great design.
Yeah.
But we cannot get past this story without talking about Alpha Centauri, who I think instantly became your favourite thing in the world.
It was just the most ridiculous thing.
Alpha Centauri
greatest.
Is wonderful. I knew, like, they were about to speak, so I stopped watching and I just turned to look at you. And you weren't quite aware that I was looking at me. I think you were crocheting or something at the same time you were watching, so you were kind of up and down. And your face just froze, and your eyes went so wide, and you looked at me and you went, are they serious? Like, yeah. This is Alpha Centauri. And they're going to be here for the whole story.
But I don't like it!
Alpha Centauri is a wonderful...
Scared.
It's a wonderful choice because you are never going to forget it. They hit all the right notes. It feels ridiculous, but you come out of it going, I actually kind of like them.
You know, at the time...
They're sweet and irritating, but not to the point where you want them gone out the show. And they're like good Scrappy-Doo.
It was that...
That doesn't exist. I'm saying Scrappy-Doo could be good.
Crappy-Doo. Am I right? Hey, up top. Kind of mid-top. Because we're going to get it. Thanks.
Da-da-da-da! Puppy power!
Stop.
Let me at him! Let me at him!
Get out. Get up and leave. Right now.
No. There's limited time on the memory card, so I'm not going to waste time doing a comedy walk. Comedy.
What were you talking about?
Alpha Centauri.
For the time, it was
even
nice,
now.
It was nice to see aliens, but not bad guys.
Yeah, like the villain was the dude with the beard and the robe. He was not. Well, technically, that's been the villain for the last 7 stories. The dude with the beard and a robe. But yeah, like
the strong British accent.
Do you know what story it reminds me of the most? Aside from obviously the Monster of Peladon, The End of the World, the second episode of the new series, with the Doctor and Rose on the satellite watching Earth's final day.
Yes,
yeah.
I got that vibe very strong.
Yeah, like just
that sentence makes sense.
Just this menagerie of different aliens, and they're all there. Obviously, not everyone involved in the proceedings, but they're all there for a purpose that is not just we're evil, which is like so cool to see because, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, the aliens in this show, there have been stories where the aliens are the good guys and the humanoid characters are the bad guys. Colony in Space from last year, for example. Last season. But, you know, it was cool to see.
Yeah, it
Can't
was.
forget Colony in Space with baby legs. So
Oh, can't talk about that.
can't forget baby legs and regular legs.
Baby legs McGee.
I really like the Curse of Peladon.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with the Curse of Peladon.
And
Karoon.
Joe nearly got married.
Yeah, she chuffing did.
I feel like I'm spoiling it, but that's the whole point of this.
That's alright, we're talking about stories that are 40 odd years old, we can spoil them. Oh my gosh, it's our it's our this is our second sequel in the Third Doctor era. Because we had a sequel Auton story, and now we've got a sequel Silurian story.
Yeah, just a different species.
It's a different species. It's the Sea Devils.
Same
This
species,
is
but a different.
the same race, but they're a different. Oh, same species, but they're a different race.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these guys, this cheeky little chuffing chucky
Little fella there.
little fella there, this little chum. I mean, there's a reason why this is sort of again a monster that people remember, even though it only appeared in a pure, nice, decent story form once. They do appear one more time in a dreadful story.
Well, the Sea Devils.
The Sea Devils and the Silurians appear one more time.
Together?
Yes, they appear together in a Fifth Doctor story called Warriors from the Deep. And it is hands down one of the worst Doctor Who serials ever. With one of the most hilarious shots in it ever. A shot that will make you go, oh God, I'm embarrassed to tell people I like this show.
Oh no!
Yeah, so, Sea Devils in a good story, drink it in! This is your one chance. The Sea Devils, what's the plot of the Sea Devils, my boo? I'll do keywords. Boats.
Yeah, the boats have been disappearing.
Just vanishing completely.
So the Doctor goes over to see what's happening.
While they're doing that, they also...
They go to see a certain person that has been locked up. And doesn't the Doctor warn them of the Master's hypnotic powers?
Yeah, it's like, he's very persuasive, you know. And they're like, he's trained to get... All our men are trained against that. Observe! And then they send someone in and he tries to hypnotise them to like set him free and they just ignore him. He's like, oh.
Yeah, but at that moment, had you seen this story before?
I've seen the story quite a few times, yeah.
He did a poker face.
Yeah.
And I didn't see through it. Oh.
I've seen the story a million times, but I didn't want you to know anything about how this went because I knew there was a scene that you were aware of and I wanted you to forget that until it came up.
Whoa!
We'll get to that. So... Turns out, though, the Master is actually working in cahoots with the guy who runs the prison facility that he's being kept in. Of course, he's been kept prisoner since the events of the Daemons last series. That was when he was taken here. It's a maximum security place out in the middle. This island in the middle of the ocean near the same research bases that look into the missing ships. The Master's fully aware of all that. In fact, he's helping to orchestrate it because he somehow managed to get in touch with a now, undormant race of Silurian creatures, the Sea Devils, as they're nicknamed in the story, and he's going to work with them and help them come up and invade and take over, and obviously in exchange for him being freed / being a ruler, all that good shit he loves doing.
Was it ever brought up how he got in touch with them?
Yes, I remember correctly, he'd already started to look into it. And then it's to do with, like, the signals and everything. He's had full run of that facility for a while. No one at that facility seriously thinks they're having to keep him prisoner. They're all sort of, like... they're, like, half working for the Warden on his words.
Yeah. And
probably half of them are hypnotised and doing what they need to do to pretend to be looking after him.
Right.
The Master's having a pretty luxurious time, though. Getting all the food and drink he wants, chilling out, plotting his schemes and quiet. And watching a bunch of kids' TV.
Yeah!
Watching the clangers.
Watch the clangers.
And having a whale of a time. And it's the fact that one's like, it's not really, it's a children's television programme. And he's like, oh, really? And then sort of stops it and they carry on the conversation and you're like, he did that with such sincerity. Oh my God, have they given the Master a kind of adorable trait?
That was another moment.
He has an adorable trait whereby he is genuinely entertained by kids' TV.
Did you know that was going to happen? Did you know that?
I've seen this story like 7 times.
Did you remember that it was clangers?
Yes. And now, does that moment in The Sound of Drums with John Simm watching the Teletubbies make more sense?
No, because why does anybody watch Teletubbies? That is nightmare-inducing.
Television's in their stomachs. What will they think of?
Tubby Toast! No, that's cute. Tubby Custard! What is Tubby Custard?
Spunk.
Can't get it in Asda.
So... It's on the secret menu.
No! There's a secret menu.
God, the pizza car would be like, I'd like some Tubby Tustard, please.
Tubby Tustard?
Tubby Tustard. That's what they said. Tubby Tustard.
It's Tubby Custard.
Yeah, but they say Tubby Tustard.
I'm pretty sure you could buy Tubby Custard.
Oh my God, we're getting so off
And
topic.
what was the other thing I said? Tubby Toast.
Caroon. Talk about the story of the Sea Devils. Oh my
The
God.
people are paid to listen to Teletubbies chat.
No one's paid anything.
Oh, why are we doing this? I'm joking.
You're the one who said, hey honey, the next marathon should be Doctor Who from the beginning.
You're the one that said we should record our thoughts and feelings just so we can get through it.
And you're watching our review of the Sea Devils. So, yeah, they're basically taking ships down. It's a sequel to the Silurians in the fact that from a certain point, its B-plot, like its secondary plot of the actual thing going on underground, is exactly the same as the Silurians.
Yeah.
The A-plot of them knowing the Master's involved and trying to prove it, and the whole stuff with him like being at the research base in disguise and Joe like, I've spotted him, he's there. All that stuff is really cool. And an excuse for John to do what John's gotta do. Because a John's gotta do what a John's gotta do. And what John wants to do is ride vehicles for extended periods of time.
Definitely.
Bessie gets a workout in a lot of his stories. In this, he's in boats, he's in convoy trucks, he's in goddamn jet skis and scuba diving. Oh, John's having a whale of a time.
He gives good face.
He does give good face. He has such an expressive face. He's wonderful. This has got the landmine sequence, where we sort of see the sonic screwdriver, because the sonic screwdriver is out in full force by this point now. Like, he's using it at least once a story.
Not quite as full force as in the late series.
Oh, no. But now it's at the point, it's a regular prop that we're seeing now, instead of something that's mentioned. Is that the one you've got
upstairs?
I don't have John's. I wish I had John's. I like John's a lot.
Upstairs?
I have several.
Do you remember? Yeah, I know that.
What are you talking about? You're talking about the metal one?
Yeah.
That's Tom's.
So it looks quite similar.
Tom's is plain silver with the red circular thing and a black back to that. John's is like a lighter silver with a red nubbin at the top, and the neck of his is like yellow with a screw pattern around it.
Right.
And I love that one, and I've never owned it.
Sorry, I got amused by the word nubbin.
Nubbin. I love his sonic screwdriver. It's my favourite. It's my favourite sonic screwdriver flat out. I think it's such a lovely, kooky looking prop with like the bright yellow middle and everything.
Do you remember buying that at the London Comic Con? Tom's, I mean.
Yeah, the diecast one, because it was bubble wrapped up and it looked like a dildo.
I was going to say it looked phallic, but you said it.
It looked like a dildo. It was.
Can you put
the bubble wrap was bud now. I'm not going to, because I don't have a picture of it to hand, and I'm not spending ages looking for it.
I know exactly where it is.
I'm not going for it, but it was like bunched at the end, so it looked like a pair of testicles and a shaft. It was weird. I was just walking around all day going, "Have you seen me dildo? Look at my dildo!"
You were not saying that.
No, I was saying, this looks a bit like a dildo.
No, you weren't. You were like, hide this from the outside world.
No, I meant the sonic screwdriver. I don't want people to know that I bought a die-cast metal sonic screwdriver. The shame. Sits on my windowsill in the office, a little cradle. It looks really nice.
It does look nice.
I really like this story, and I know full well what your highlight is already.
Clangers?
Sword fight? Are you kidding me?
Oh my god! Well,
not only did you make me rewind a part of it, we then both went, oh, the next episode just begins with that entire sequence again.
I remember this moment. This was a great moment where it was coming up to it and I was like, wait, is this it? And Christopher just he does this thing where if something's going to happen and he knows I'm going to love it, he'll just look at me. And I was like, wait, no, this is it.
Because you were aware of the sword fight sequence.
Yeah, you'd shown me that before.
I'd either shown you that bit or I'd shown you a clip of it or something, but yeah. I remember you going, that is really cool. So when we got to this story, I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to tell her that it's in this one. I'm going to wait to see her
that was a great
figure it out. And you did. Like, the moment you went to investigate, the Master wasn't immediately in the room. You were like,
is this it?
Wait, hang on, is this where it? And then he appears in the doorway with the freaking the cutlass. And you're just like, ah!
This is sandwiches!
It was fine. What was it? I was fine. 4 or 5 weeks. We're rather hungry, don't you?
Right,
Enjoy that meal, Doctor.
That's,
It could be your last.
that was a great impression.
Thank you.
Something else I've noticed, all the sandwiches, and there were a lot of sandwiches in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, they really were.
None of them have crusts.
People got the crust off throughout all the stories.
Every single one we've seen that's got sandwiches in.
Yeah.
Even the one where Joe's got some sandwiches for Benson, who had to go get
Benton.
Benson had to go get Benton.
Oh, right.
Because Joe had some sandwiches.
Is that your headcanon now? Is your headcanon that there's an extra soldier called Benson?
She mistook Benson for Benton, and Benson got Benton, so Benson couldn't come and eat the sandwich. And the other guy, what was his name?
Mike Yates.
Mike Yates, that was it.
Oh my god.
The doctor was in there somewhere. Yeah, sandwiches and no crust. That was my point.
Splendid work.
What this episode is shocking. I'm so sorry.
The Sea Devils. Lucy liked it. It drove her insane.
I'm sorry.
Now let's talk about a story which I'm gonna have to admit.
Wait, show me the colour.
This is the Mutants.
I don't recall.
Well, that's the thing. I've seen this before, and I remember the first time I watched it, probably about 5 years ago. I thought it was really dull. Then we watched it last week, and I was surprised by how much I really liked it. A week later, I could barely remember it.
Yeah. Is this the one that's very similar to a story that we've already had?
It's very similar to Colony in Space.
Yeah.
The opening of the story is much better, and I like the opening of the story a lot. There's an object that the Doctor has to deliver from the Time Lords.
Oh.
It's got something in it, and it's locked, so it has to be... Oh, before we forget, Master gets captured at the end of the Sea Devils, and then they realise that the guy they're taking off the hovercraft is not the Master.
The Master started having a heart attack
Yeah,
or something.
and they're like, oh my god, and they looked at him, and they peeled his face off, and it's someone else, and the Master gets away. Put a pin in that, remember it for later. So... the Doctor gets this object, and it's like locked, and it can only be opened. It's got something important in it, and it can only be opened by the touch of the person that's destined to have it. So they get in the TARDIS, knowing that the Time Lords are sending him off again as an errand. Some sort of galactic yo-yo. And Joe's like, well, I'm coming with you. He's like, no, it might be too dangerous. She's like, you kidding me, mate? I'm coming with you. In fact, I think in this one, doesn't he get in the TARDIS? And then as it started up, she gets in the doors and joins him. Yeet! Joe yeets it in! This bitch empty! Yeet!
Yeet, Doctor!
They arrive at a place where the... correct me if I'm wrong. The people from Offworld are trying to sort of colonise it and help develop the society that's there, sort of. And they're trying to reach a compromise, because Jeffrey Palmer's back in it, playing like a second character in the show, after being the Doctor in the Silurian story.
Yeah.
He'll pop up again, if I remember correctly. He's the Prime Minister in Torchwood Children of Earth. Keeps coming back. Some actors come back to the show a lot.
I never saw that. Are we watching Torchwood?
Oh shit, yeah! And we're definitely watching Children of Earth. Children of Earth is one of the best things I ever watched go out on television. When we watch it, we're going to watch it the way you're supposed to, which is one a night for 5 nights. Because that's how it went out. BBC One Monday to Friday, and it was so good. And then we'll watch Miracle Day, and you'll go, why? Why? Miracle Day's got some great stuff in it, but you can tell that it was extended from a 5-episode scenario to a 10-episode scenario due to the Stars Network.
Wow.
They demanded 10, so it got stretched out and didn't quite work. But Stars have come around and made some good programmes since. Ash vs. Evil Dead. So...
Hey!
And the upcoming Child's Play show, which I think will actually be with sci-fi and horror. But the point is, they get to this place, and the humanoid, what are they called? The people, they've got like a name, is it Overlords or the Lords or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
They've got a really stupid name that basically means that they're the superiors. But they're trying to sort of find a compromise with the indigenous people of the planet, and there's political unrest, and someone gets assassinated, and all this, that, and t'other. So the indigenous lot are not going to be listened to, and they're finding it harder to communicate and get everything across. And they're going to get executed and all that terrible shite. And the atmosphere outside of the colonies that have been created by the Earth lot is toxic and kills people from Earth. It just kills them eventually. Whereas it doesn't kill the people who live there. But there is also a mutated creature subset of the indigenous folk who, as we learn later in the story, were mutated in the previous generations by the atmosphere since the human lot started tampering with the atmosphere. So it's got to a point now where they can survive, but the humanoid lot can't without gear, and an experiment is going to scream all over and burn the whole place up soon. That stuff was great. One of the guys who's like the secondary leader of the indigenous tribe, it turns out to be the one who can open the device, and the device contains these symbols and stuff, which they learn the significance of later. The only other thing in this where I'm like, that is absolutely boss, was the fact this had a villain who was a proper boo-hiss psychopath.
Yeah.
That's what I really enjoyed on my rewatch. I just didn't seem to remember from my last time, but like, he was great. Like the guy in charge of it all was just egotistical and getting more like power mad throughout the whole story. Like it was proper sort of Shakespearean, like this guy just gets power hungry and begins to eat his own like chances of success alive by letting his murderous side kind of lead it all. He was great.
What was
he
his
was really
name?
good. I will check while you tell me what you remember about the mutants.
I remember that there's a gas that is the atmosphere that the indigenous people can breathe, but everybody else can't. So they're like milling about, living in caves and stuff, and people start to mutate, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They call them.
We've covered all this.
Yeah, I know, but what were they called? They were called mutts, weren't they?
They referred to them as mutts. Yeah.
Mutts. But it turns out that was their natural.
Well, it's what they're going to evolve into over like a few more generations.
Yeah. But it's been
sped
up. Yeah.
So they weren't. Oh, we've been mutated into horrible freaks. It's no. Our natural evolution has been forced into a speedier state.
Yeah.
And they never really like the modern series, would have covered a character from their tribe now, learning that one day that's what they're going to become, and being like, what does this mean? And by the end, learning that no, it's actually fine. Like they're great. They're still us. They're just different. They're adapted more to this planet. Less than the other. The Marshal was the character played by Paul Watson Jones. He's just listed as the Marshal. He was fantastic.
He was really good. Yeah.
Really, really psychotic. The Solonians were the people of the planet. That stuff was great. When they get the inspecting force coming down to make sure and see what's going on, because of course the pressure of that, the bureaucracy of the business side of it all is freaking him out. When he gets them down, that's the point where he's beyond help, and he's just like even is going to kidnap them and force them down onto the planet and everything. And by the end, he's like, "I'm just going to get you all down there. You're all going to basically live because I allow it, and you're going to start the colony. We're not abandoning this world. That's what we're here to do. We're here to colonize it. You are going to be that colony, and I'm going to be in charge of you all as your king." And it's like, well, hang on, king? Whoa, what the hell's going on? Like, that stuff's great.
Chill one's been.
That stuff is really great. And what I love about this is the more we've talked about it, the more I've remembered what the hell happened in it. And I'm actually going, do you know what? I really like the mutants. It was great. It was great. A lot of cave locations.
I was going to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Marshal. Joe. The two soldiers who helped them out were really good characters. They were really enjoyable.
Oh my gosh, wasn't he Sulfordian?
Yeah, one of them was like a Mank lad. Mancunian Sulfordian. It was hilarious because we kept looking at each other and going, because this is Doctor Who and because of that accent, my brain is automatically saying Ninth Doctor, even though it's obviously not the Ninth Doctor, but it's weird.
But I was really thinking the people that were going to...
Stubbs and Cotton were those characters.
The ones that were... Cotton's Parrot. Sorry, Parrot's joke.
Oh my god, for that one person who is watching this that also knows the Black Pearl off by heart.
I did think the people that were going to come down and investigate, I really did think one of them was going to be the Master.
You know why though? That's because part of the premise was so similar to Colony in Space. Because it's not the exact same story, but it's the fact that it's one series apart and it's about Earth Colony, Indigenous people. Also in that one, they were both Earth colonies, but one was the government and one was people just looking for a home. But still, and there's a mutant race in the caves. There's no baby legs in this one, but it was. I enjoyed. The more we've talked about it, the more I've realised how much I actually really liked this one. Its main problem that it suffers from is the problem of a lot of classic Who of this era, which is it needed to be 1 to 2
long.
episodes shorter. It could be so much more succinct.
It's a very it's a very obvious problem, I think. Did they have to meet some kind of contractual...
Yes, but also, I wonder if that's just because of the sensibilities of the generational gap. Because if we were kids / 20-somethings watching this then, we'd probably feel completely different about that. We'd probably want there to be as much of it as possible.
Yeah, that's true.
Because again, it's just that 25 minutes a week. Whereas, like, the way we're watching it is we're consuming it. Admittedly, we don't watch these necessarily in a one chunk. Like, Day of the Daleks we watched 3 episodes, and the next night we watched the 4th concluding episode.
Yeah.
But, like, we spread these out usually 1 or 2 episodes ago. But even so, like, we're used to having our things now. Like, if a programme finished on telly that we like, we have multiple options on multiple channels to immediately switch over and watch another thing we like.
Yeah.
Whereas, with this case, it's like, this was the kids' show on Saturday night for the family.
Hey, man.
So... they probably want as much of it as possible. Hi, Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea?
Sweet Tea.
Hi, Sweet Tea.
That's a new name.
The Mutants.
Sweet Tea.
Pretty great on reflection. Now, this one is the one we most recently finished, boys and girls. And, the Time Monster starts out very much like a story from last series. Experiments at a college on this crystal that has something to do with time travel and cutting into time and all this, that and the other, if you recall. Sweet Lady of Plymouth.
Sweet Tea.
Sweet Lady... Sweet Lady of Plymouth.
Okay.
Very much like last series, we sort of start the story in media res. These 2 students are working away at it, this, that and the other, la, 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 and then the professor comes in. And we, the audience, go, bloody master. It's the master. Guys, that's the master. With this faint Scottish accent this time, if I remember correctly.
And it wasn't bad.
It was pretty good, because he was downplaying it, but it was really lovely. And he's sort of hypnotising the head of the institute a bit, isn't he, to make sure he can do whatever he needs to do. And it turns out the master is trying to summon an ancient Atlantean god called Kronos. Kronos! Come, Kronos! Kronos went, you haven't even taken me out for a drink yet.
I don't know your name.
Flap, flap, flap. I'm dressed as Kronos right now.
Hey,
Kronos.
Kronos.
My white t-shirt.
Hey, yo.
Kronos, hey.
You leaving me hanging?
Flap, flap, flap. flap
Nice.
Flap. Come, Kronos.
Caroon.
Because it turns out that Atlantis exists. Again. It turns out this story forgot that they'd already done a story about Atlantis.
Jesus.
But whatevs.
But
Because
this one's got tits.
Because this time it's not got a modern scientist living there and getting all power mad. This time it is an ancient civilization with gods and monsters. One of them is Kronos, who the master wishes to harness through the power of this time crystal and use to destroy and rebuild and create and basically be his godlike monstrous bitch. He does so by like taking an Atlantean from the temples and teleporting them to the facility and all that good stuff. Like proper kind of sci-fi kooky Quatermass like stuff that we've come to expect from stories with the Master in. But the Master stays sort of out of everyone else's way in the cast for quite some time. Mm-hmm. Like the first scene he and the Doctor share, they don't say anything because the Master's hiding around a corner and watching the Doctor arrive. Because, of course, when the crystal's used, everyone sort of within a certain radius slows down to like a fraction of time, which is performed through both the footage being doctored and slowed down so that everyone's moving slowly, and sometimes it's just the actors moving really freaking slowly, whilst the Doctor's moving in real time, because the idea being that he is more attuned to time as a Time Lord, so it isn't affecting him.
And it sure is hard to tell which is which.
Look, Nicholas Courtney tried, alright? Bless him, he tried.
He put a good lot of...
Yeah, because the Brigadier's back, folks. The Brigadier's actually in this damn story. Yeah, Brigadier. Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart.
Oh, Lord.
The Sass McGrath comes back in this one between the Brigadier and the Doctor, but mostly between the Brigadier and I was going to say Benson, you swine. Benton.
Oh, Benson's...
he says it to Benson, then Benson passes it on to Benton.
Yeah, that's how it goes, yeah.
And, on Papa. So that's really cool. But yeah, it's this is one where we were enjoying it, and then it kept going. Guy gets old, he gets rapidly aged, great makeup effect, really cool story beat. And we're still going. And the Atlantean legend and the crystal, and we're still going.
Yep.
And then the last 2 episodes happen, and suddenly it goes back into high gear and gets really exciting. Because the Master pisses off to Atlantis with the dude in tow, convinces the sort of the court that he will speak with their emperor, their king, then tries to hypnotise him to doing his bidding, and the guy just stares at him like, bitch please.
That's not going to work.
His face just basically says, bitch please.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's not the other, blah, blah. And at that point I turned to you and I went, how many people has he actually successfully mind-controlled since we first met him? About 3? Like, the dude who runs the circus in Terror of the Autons. But even then it's more of a, you'll do what I say, and then for the rest of it he's just being a twat on his orders.
Yeah.
There's the woman who's the Chinese delegates' security and whatnot, who's killing people. Like, she's the only one who ever seems to have been put in a complete sort of state of they are doing everything he says.
Yeah.
Joe sort of in Terror of the Autons as well, briefly. Yeah. She nearly blows everyone up with a bomb. And then the guy in Sea Devils is swayed a bit to do what he did. You know, but in this, it's just like, his success rate at this point is embarrassingly low. It's weird that they keep going back to it, because every time he does it and it fails, the viewer is sort of made to think less of him. So he's not that threatening, is he? But he's also very persuasive as is, because
it's that moustache.
The Queen with the beard, well, he has the bearing of a god. Because the Queen or what have you, we just kept calling, we were watching with our friend Kanisha, and we just kept calling this woman Boobs. Boobs. Because we noticed it was the first time in the 9 seasons we've watched where a character has any cleavage on show, and boy does she have cleavage on show.
She has all that she's made up for.
She wears 2 different outfits over the course of these 2 episodes, and both of them are boob-focused. She's a great performer. She's really good. She plays this very kind of, again, sort of, you know, historical kind of queen who's frustrated with her power and becomes seduced by this handsome stranger who's got a powerful air about him. She plays it really well, but we just kept getting distracted by the fact that her boobs are out. Because you suddenly remember that, hang on, it's a kid's show. Why is that costume so revealing?
And the Master notices.
Yes, he does. Because he basically is like, you and me, we shall team up and we'll rule together and I will control Kronos. And she's like, alright, what about my husband?
Your Master impression is really good.
It's doing alright, it's a shame I'm only going to get to do it for like 1 more story. She's like, alright, what about my husband? You're not going to harm him? And he's like, no, we'll be fine. And then they do. They basically like beat him up and have him thrown in the dungeon, and then he dies in the dungeon. Meanwhile, Joe is thrown to the Minotaur, because that's a thing in this too. The Minotaur is part of the Atlantean myth. And
it's in it for about 3 minutes.
It's the cliffhanger, and then it falls down a pit when tricked. Because the Doctor, to be fair, badass he is, freaking toros it into falling down a well.
He didn't sing to this one.
Karun, get down there! He didn't chop its neck, like everyone else gets in the show, chopped to the back of the neck. Apart from the Master, in one of these stories, he'd like full on like smacked someone around the front of the face. Do you remember? It was like, oh my god, he's getting stuck in. Yes, that guy who tries to mind control, and it doesn't work, so he just chops him in the neck in the Sea Devils. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's shit. He's not. We love him. So they harness Kronos, and he's gonna rule, and he's gonna rule Atlantis. Essentially, he changes his plan to, I'm not going to rule everywhere, I'm going to rule Atlantis, and then I'm going to bring Atlantis up as an empire, and then we're going to take over with me as their ruler.
Cleveland Atlantis.
Cleavage Atlantis! No.
What?
I was going to say no capes. That's not what he says. That's what Edna Mode says.
Yeah. Yeah, right there.
Nope, I'm tired. So,
yeah.
Everything kicks into gear in the last episode, but basically, Kronos starts to tear Atlantis apart before the Doctor and Joe can be executed by Kronos at the Master's hand.
Yeah.
And the Master flees in his TARDIS, which is the whole time has been disguised as a computer bank. The Doctor and Joe flee in their TARDIS. There's some really cool stuff in this where the Master traps the Doctor's TARDIS within his TARDIS, and it's sort of like a constant loop, and they're basically stuck and will obliterate one another or another if one of them makes the wrong decision. That stuff's great. The Doctor gets erased from time thrown out into the vortex briefly, but it connects enough with the TARDIS that he helps Joe make the right decisions of what to press, and it brings him back.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really, really cool. Like, the actual tension in that stuff is great, and Katie Manning plays that so well.
Really well, yeah.
She plays that daunting thing of, I don't want to lose my friend, but also I don't want to be trapped in time in a TARDIS on my own.
Yeah.
Like, that's horrifying. Because this is where the time ram comes in. Time ram. Which, for those of you who have not listened to Aimless Wanderings, one of our stories ends with a really dramatic time ram, where all the Doctors time ram the Master's TARDIS, and it's played for the innuendo you can imagine it is. It's great.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
Get listening to that.
But Kronos takes the TARDISes, and the TARDISes materialise within sort of Kronos' dimension where Kronos actually lives. Kronos appears in the best and only good use of green screen this series, as a giant, like, sort of face that's just within the whole place that they're in, the realm of being they're in.
Yeah.
Her face, because it's now not a big white fluorescent bird costume. It's like, it's just this lady's face.
Yeah, human form.
She's like, hey, whatever you want, you're in my dimension now, I'm beyond good and evil. Like, I do not want to be controlled. I won't do his bidding. I destroy and I create on my own terms.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me. You can have whatever you wish. And they're just like, we'd like to go home. She's like, I will grant that wish. This is what's going to become the Master. And she's like, oh, I'm just going to keep him here and I'm going to fuck him up. I'm going to kick his ass from here to eternity and back again. And they go, yeah, we can't allow that, really. Can we have one more wish? And they're like, what's that? It's like, you let him go because we're going to take him back to Earth to see justice.
Mm-hmm.
He's wanted for many crimes back where we're from, so we want him to see justice. And Kronos is like, yeah, it's cool. And then the Master's like, oh god. Like, the Master's genuinely, like, panicking for his life, isn't he? He's like, no, Kronos, please.
No.
And then he convinces him.
He begs, he's on the floor.
And he starts, and I don't think he's being disingenuous either. I think he's genuinely shitting himself at the thought of being tormented for eternity. And then the moment he... Because for as masterful and as suave as he can be, he's ultimately just a petty man who wants to be in charge because, as he said earlier on in an earlier story, if you are not the master, you are the slave.
Yeah.
And that's all he wants, is he wants to be in charge and be the one everyone's obeying. That's all he wants. So the moment he's faced with actual space damnation, it freaks him out. Because he's like, oh my god, I'm never going to get out of this, ever.
Yeah.
But he makes a break for it, he legs into his TARDIS and sets off immediately, and they're like, Kronos, stop him! Kronos is like, I agreed to let him go, he's gone. Not my problem.
Now.
And they're like, oh my god, that's... No, Kronos, you dick! And then she's like, bye. And they go back to Earth and have a lovely little time, because there's Benton, who has been reduced to a baby by the machine, who then goes back to normal as a fully grown, naked man.
Naked man.
And the Brigadier storms in and does what, Mrs. I spotted this and couldn't quite believe it, Johnson?
The Brigadier was staring at his pee-pee.
The Brigadier looks down at Benson's dick.
Yeah.
The last two episodes of this are suddenly ridiculously exciting after a couple where not much is happening. And it's for me, it turned it around. I really enjoyed the Time Monster by the end of it because I was like, oh my god, that last episode, there's a prison, there's a labyrinth, there's the core in Atlantis, there's the scenes with the Master and the Queen, like, seducing one another, there's the stuff with Kronos, there's the scenes back at the laboratory,
yeah,
like, there was so much in that last story. The Atlantis set.
Yeah,
was so big and sprawling.
When Kronos was destroying it, it was all falling apart. I mean, these people died just because they were shaken a bit, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, well,
No debris hit them, but, Atlanteans may have a different...
Physiology,
yeah. But yeah, it really, really did not need to be as long as it was. Because I don't remember most of what happened in the middle.
But that being said, that last two...
they were worth it.
Barnstormers. Loved them.
And the Master gave Joe a cheeky little push as he ran away.
Yes, he did. He was like,
he could have turned around and just run, but he decided to push Joe instead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Grant, but yeet!
I'm out of here.
This bitch empty.
This series felt quite short.
Well, it's 5 stories, so not shorter than last year. Same length. But But I think, again, it's the episode. Day of the Daleks was a 4-parter, and then the rest... I think Curse of Paladin might have been a 4-parter, and then the rest was 6-parters.
Yeah.
But what did you think overall? Because, like, you weren't as bowled over last series as I thought you would be.
Yeah.
And you were kind of bored by series 1 a bit after Spearhead.
Yeah.
How was this one for you?
This one was fun.
Yeah, I think you're enjoying it more because you're really enjoying the Doctor and Joe.
Yeah. And all that's gonna change.
Yeah, well, not for another 5 stories. We have 5 more full stories with this status quo. I cannot wait for you to watch Series 10. I can't wait to start on it now.
Let's get on with it.
Circumstances this week here at home have meant that we've delayed our marathon a little bit, and we finished the Time Monster like 4 or 5 days ago before recording this.
Yeah.
And I've been dying to start Series 10 because there are some amazing stories in Series 10. The last story of Series 10 is an absolute winner. But do you know what our next story is?
I do.
Do you want to tell the fair people of the world?
It is the 3 Doctors.
And why are you excited for the 3 Doctors, Boo?
Because it's got little Patrick.
Little Patrick comes back, Trick. Little Patrick comes back, Trick.
Little Paddy Troughton.
And Billy.
Oh yeah, Billy.
Sort of. He's not in it, but he's in it. He is in it. It is him, and he is in it.
And he is. He is in it.
It's his last appearance in the show.
Ever, yeah.
Ever. Outside of archive footage.
Now this is one that I've seen before.
Sort of. I don't remember you watching
I have seen
it.
I have seen it because...
It was on in the room whilst you were doing stuff.
I think I asked to watch an episode. I think it was another one of those where it's like, yeah, let's watch an episode or 2. And you got that one out. And we watched it. And it was pleasant.
Yeah, it was when we first moved into this house, because the TV was down in the corner over there.
It obviously, it's got more gravity behind it now. Is that a phrase? Did I just make that up?
Probably. You're more invested in these characters in this era.
Yeah.
And Patrick especially.
Yeah.
And I bet you're going to be happy to see Bill as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get a countdown clock then, because it's your last Bill, but your third to last Patrick. You get some more Patrick after this.
Don't say that.
But yeah.
Always have Paddy Troughton.
Are you going to miss the Master? Because you only have one more story with Roger Delgado.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, he was in a lot.
Well, yeah, last series he was the villain of the series.
And it was kind of like,
apart from Colony, where it's revealed at the end he's the villain, when he rocks up as the adjudicator.
Look at me, I'm the adjudicator, but you didn't realise that it was going to be me, the Master.
Well, you don't really, until you see the back of the adjudicator's head, then you're like, that's the Master.
Is the Doctor like, I'm so sick of your shit.
I'm sick of this arsehole.
I'm just going to shoot you.
Wow.
Bring it here. What was that quote?
He's in 5 rounds rapid. Chat with the Wings, 5 rounds rapid. He's in next series in one story, and then he was meant to be in the last story of the following series, but Roger Delgado passed away.
He is fantastic. He is, and he claims that role.
Yeah.
He absolutely he is the Master.
He's still my favourite. I do love, I'll be honest, I love every incarnation of the Master, like, even the ones where people think I might love them ironically, I still do like them a lot. I like Jeffrey Beavers and I like Peter Pratt. Their take on that version is creepy and weird, as you will see when you see the Master the next time he shows up. I love Anthony Ainley. He's a big panto villain who is loving every minute of what he's doing.
Is he the one that dresses for the...
No, Anthony Ainley is the Master for the majority of the Master's time on screen. He plays him from the 4th Doctor's era right down to the last story of the classic run. He's great. You've seen the 5 Doctors at some point.
Yeah.
He's the Master in that story.
Is that the one where Tom didn't want to do it?
Yeah, so they choose some archive footage from the unreleased Shudder! And,
where is it unreleased?
But we'll get to that when we get to it. No, writers' strike and telly strike and stuff, so they get finished.
I think we've discussed it.
And it's been released several times. And what we're going to do when we watch this marathon is we are going to watch the first DVD release, which is the episodes cobbled together from what does exist, with narration and Tom filming bits in the 90s talking about it.
Right.
We're going to watch that version. For those who are like, what about the animated one they released last year? We will watch that for a different video later. So we are going to watch Shudder twice.
Is that a good thing or?
It's Douglas Adams wrote it.
It's a thing.
Douglas Adams wrote it.
Nice.
Hitchhiker's Guide, you know, yeah.
Don't panic.
It's the most boring thing I think he's ever written.
No.
But people are obsessed with it because they're like, it's the lost story. And it's like, yeah, it's a Douglas Adams story. Yeah, but it's not that interesting, is it? And even he on reflection was like, I'm kind of glad it never happened because it was not my best. But we have an experiment. So we're going to watch Shadow when we get to it, but then a few months later we'll watch the animated version and Dreamland and the Infinite Quest. We're going to do like a mini Doctor Who animated one.
Okay.
Where we talk about the animated recons that have come out since we started this.
Sure.
Because since we started this, the Macra Terror has been released.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so we'll have a Patrick to go back to eventually.
Oh, Paddy Troughton.
Yeah, so there you go. For those who are wondering how we were going to deal with that, we're dealing with it later.
A little Paddy Troughton.
But yeah, Aunt Ainley is great. I even like Eric Roberts in the TV movie because I think it suits the tone of that story perfectly well. It's campy as hell, but I enjoy it.
That's what it's all about.
John Simm is great, especially in what should have been it for him, which was his 2 appearances in the Tennant era.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lot of fun when he shows up later, but his story feels like it's complete at the end of time, and then it carries on in a Capaldi story, and it's like, wait, what? And I love Michelle Gomez. I'm not huge on Missy, but I love her performance. Like, if that makes any sense. I like her, and I like how she approaches it.
Right.
I don't necessarily like how the character of the Master/Missy is handled in that period of their life. Like, I think it's way too late for that character to suddenly be like, maybe I should be a good guy now. And I also think her evil schemes make no sense at all. And you look at all the other Master's schemes, and it's like, yeah, they're improvises or plans ahead, whereas hers are bullshit. Her schemes are bullshit. I made a Cyberman army of the undead for you as a gift because I want you to take them. That's my plan. What? Why?
I will voice my opinions when we get there.
Yes. Evil Mary Poppins. And the 2 minutes of Derek Jacobi as the Master we get are superb. In Utopia. When Professor Yana remembers that he's the Master. And Derek Jacobi is the Master
I
for
got
like 2
really
minutes.
confused there. Like, what?
Oh my god, actually, that's another one we're going to watch for the animated specials, by the way.
What's that?
Scream of the Schalke, which was, as of 2004, the official continuation of the show. It's a Flash animated special, 6 episodes,
Right.
starring Richard E. Grant as the 9th Doctor.
Oh, wait. What?
Yep. In 2004, Richard E. Grant was the canonical 9th Doctor.
Oh my gosh.
2003. And as the series was coming out to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the show, that was when it was announced that the show was going into production and coming back in 2005. So it was like, well, this isn't canon anymore, guys, but enjoy. And in that, the Master is in it, but it's not the Master.
Right.
It's an android version of the Master that lives in the TARDIS that essentially is the thing keeping the Doctor company.
Right.
It's based on the Delgado design.
Oh, nice.
And it's voiced by Derek Jacobi.
What?
What the fudge? So, that's a thing. But that's a thing for another time. I think overall we really enjoyed Series 9 on this revisit.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you to watch Series 10. Till next time, God rest ye merry gentlemen.
Caroon,
Caroon, Caroon, Caroon.
Caroon.